In the waning years of World War II, the United States found itself housing over 425,000 German prisoners of war across more than 500 camps. These camps were scattered throughout the country, from the humid fields of the South to the arid deserts of the West. Each camp was a microcosm of the larger conflict, a place where enemy soldiers were held far from the front lines. Among these many camps, one stood out for an unexpected reason. Camp Concordia, nestled in the heartland of Kansas, became a focal point for a unique cultural exchange that unfolded amidst the turmoil of war. Established in 1943, Camp Concordia was designed to accommodate approximately 4,000 prisoners. The camp was a sprawling complex, its architecture a testament to the military's efficiency and the exigencies of war. Rows of barracks stretched out in neat lines, interspersed with recreational facilities and workstations, all enclosed by the ever-present barbed wire that marked the boundary between freedom and captivity. The camp was patrolled by the U.S. Army's 425th Military Police Escort Guard Company, whose watchful presence ensured order and discipline. The camp operated under the directives issued by the War Department, which emphasized the humane treatment of prisoners in accordance with the Geneva Convention. This commitment to humane treatment was more than a mere adherence to international law. It was a reflection of American values and a strategic tool in the broader ideological battle against the Axis powers. The U.S. Army Provost Marshal General's office managed the logistics of the camp, overseeing everything from food supplies to labor assignments. In Kansas, German POWs were employed in agricultural work on local farms, canneries, and lumber mills. These labor assignments were meticulously documented in transportation logs and agricultural labor contracts, which outlined the terms of employment and ensured compliance with wartime labor needs. Prisoners were remunerated with coupons rather than cash, a system designed to maintain order and prevent escape attempts. These coupons could be used at the camp canteen to purchase goods such as tobacco, toiletries, and snacks. The camp's food system was structured around rationing policies similar to those experienced by American civilians, with menus designed to meet nutritional standards set forth in War Department circulars. Red Cross inspections regularly evaluated these provisions, ensuring that conditions adhered to international standards. This attention to detail and adherence to international norms was part of a larger strategy, one that sought to win the hearts and minds of the prisoners even as the war raged on. Educational and recreational activities within the camp were a significant aspect of the prisoners' daily lives. YMCA programs and camp newspapers played a crucial role in providing mental stimulation and maintaining morale. Access to education was encouraged, with classes ranging from basic literacy to advanced subjects, reflecting the War Department's broader strategy for re-education. This was not simply an effort to occupy the prisoners' time, it was an integral part of a campaign to reshape their worldviews and prepare them for a post-war world. It was within this context that a select group of German POWs was permitted to visit the local town library as part of an educational initiative aimed at fostering an understanding of American culture and democratic values. The library visits were initially met with skepticism by the prisoners, many of whom had been indoctrinated with Nazi ideology and anticipated encountering propagandistic material designed to indoctrinate them further. However, upon entering the library, the prisoners were met with an unexpected sight. The library was not a sterile repository of state-approved knowledge, but a vibrant community hub. Veterans, students, and children sat together, engrossed in their reading, oblivious to the presence of the former enemy soldiers in their midst. The shelves were lined with a diverse array of books, newspapers, and magazines. The open access to information was an embodiment of the American principle that knowledge was a public resource, not a privilege. According to camp records and library visitation logs, the library became a focal point for the prisoners' intellectual curiosity. They were particularly struck by the availability of critical political literature, including books that openly criticized the U.S. government, a concept that was foreign to those who had been indoctrinated in Nazi ideology. This exposure to free discourse and the idea of self-critique was further reinforced by lectures and discussions facilitated by the librarians, who emphasized the practical implementation of democracy through literacy and education. One notable incident involved a former Nazi teacher who, during a library visit, discovered a history book that candidly addressed the imperfections of the U.S. government. The book, published by the government itself, was a revelation to him, a tangible representation of the democratic principles he had fought against. This encounter, documented in a camp newspaper article, highlighted the ideological dismantling occurring not through coercion, but through the environment and systems that allowed for open access to knowledge. The logistical coordination of these library visits was recorded in transportation logs, detailing the schedules and personnel involved in facilitating the prisoners' access to the town library. These records reflect the meticulous planning required to balance security concerns with the educational objectives of the program. The effort to allow prisoners to visit the library was not without its challenges. Security protocols had to be devised to ensure that the prisoners did not escape or engage in espionage, and local communities had to be reassured that the presence of enemy soldiers in their midst posed no threat. As the war drew to a close, the focus shifted to post-war repatriation and re-education programs. The U.S. government, in collaboration with international organizations, developed directives aimed at preparing POWs for reintegration into post-Nazi society. These programs emphasized democratic values, critical thinking, and the rejection of totalitarian ideologies. The library visits were a small but significant part of this larger effort, providing prisoners with a first-hand experience of the freedoms and responsibilities inherent in democratic societies. In conclusion, the experiences of German POWs at Camp Concordia and their interactions with the American public library system offer a unique historical perspective on the power of knowledge as a tool for ideological transformation. The archival evidence, from War Department circulars to camp newspapers, paints a picture of a systematic approach to fostering understanding and dismantling deeply ingrained beliefs through education and open access to information. This narrative serves as a testament to the capacity of democratic systems to effect change through literacy and the free exchange of ideas. The story of Camp Concordia and its unexpected libraries is a reminder that even in times of conflict, the pursuit of knowledge and understanding can build bridges between former enemies and lay the groundwork for a more peaceful future. The German prisoners of war at Camp Concordia were initially uncertain about their surroundings, but one aspect of their captivity quickly became a focal point of their daily lives: the local library. With each visit, the library left a lasting imprint on their perceptions and beliefs, offering a stark contrast to the environments they had known in Germany, and even within the confines of their camp. The library, a beacon of democratic ideals and free access to information, opened a window to a world that had been hidden from them, one where books critiqued the U.S. government openly, a revelation to many who had only known the stringent censorship and propaganda of Nazi Germany. The library was a modest building, but its shelves were filled with a vast array of books that represented the diverse spectrum of political thought and historical perspectives found in American society. The former Nazi teacher, who had initially been taken aback by the candid portrayals of American governance in history books, found himself returning to the library with increasing frequency. Each book he read challenged his previous beliefs, offering new frameworks through which to comprehend the world. Political theory, philosophy, and history books provided him with insights that were both unsettling and enlightening. The realization that a government could acknowledge its flaws yet still function effectively was a profound shift for him, shattering the rigid ideologies he had once embraced. Beyond the library visits, the educational initiatives at Camp Concordia extended to organized lectures and discussions. These were led by a mix of military personnel and civilian educators, each bringing their own perspectives and expertise. The sessions aimed to foster critical thinking and dialogue among the POWs, encouraging them to question and analyze rather than passively accept information. Topics ranged from the principles of democracy to the mechanics of American society and governance, each designed to equip the POWs with the intellectual tools necessary for their eventual reintegration into post-war society. The discussions were lively, sometimes heated, but always illuminating as POWs grappled with new ideas and questioned long-held beliefs. The U.S. Army's approach to the POWs was rooted in a profound belief that education and exposure to democratic values could serve as a form of re-education, effectively counteracting years of Nazi indoctrination. This was not merely a moral obligation, but a strategic one as well. The humane treatment of the prisoners, as mandated by the Geneva Convention, was complemented by these educational efforts, reinforcing the notion that the U.S. was committed to a higher moral standard even amidst the chaos of war. This approach was a testament to the power of knowledge and understanding as tools for change. Initially, local community members were apprehensive about the presence of German POWs in their midst. However, as the educational initiatives took root, they began to see the potential benefits. Some townspeople volunteered to participate in the educational programs, offering their expertise in various subjects or simply engaging in conversations with the POWs. These interactions provided a unique opportunity for cultural exchange and mutual understanding. The POWs, in turn, appreciated the chance to learn about American life from those who lived it, beyond the confines of books and lectures. They learned about American customs, values, and daily life, which further enriched their understanding and appreciation of democratic ideals. Despite the overall positive impact of the library visits and educational programs, challenges persisted. Not all POWs were receptive to the new ideas presented to them. Some clung to their previous beliefs, viewing the educational efforts as a subtle form of propaganda. The camp authorities recognized the complexity of shifting deeply ingrained ideologies and tailored their approach to accommodate different levels of receptivity among the prisoners. They understood that transformation was a gradual process, one that required patience and persistence. The logistics of the library visits required careful coordination. Security was a paramount concern, as the safety of both the POWs and the local community had to be ensured. The visits were conducted under the watchful eyes of military personnel, who maintained a discreet presence to allow the POWs the freedom to explore the library's resources without feeling overly supervised. The balance between security and freedom was delicate, but the camp's administrators believed it was essential for the success of the program. They understood that trust was a crucial component of the educational initiatives. As the war drew to a close, the future of the German POWs became a topic of discussion among the camp's administrators and the local community. The educational initiatives had been designed with reintegration in mind, but the practicalities of this process were complex. The POWs had formed connections with the local community, and some expressed a desire to remain in the United States after the war. However, international agreements dictated their repatriation to Germany. The thought of leaving behind the friendships they had formed was bittersweet, yet they were eager to apply the knowledge they had gained. The impact of the educational programs at Camp Concordia extended far beyond the immediate post-war period. Many of the POWs returned to Germany with a transformed understanding of democracy and governance. Some became advocates for democratic principles in their home country, contributing to the rebuilding of post-war Germany. The seeds of critical thinking and open discourse planted during their time at the camp took root, influencing their roles in society and governance in the years to come. They carried with them the ideals of tolerance, dialogue, and democratic participation, becoming ambassadors of the principles they had learned. The story of Camp Concordia and its library visits stands as a testament to the power of knowledge and education in bridging cultural divides and fostering understanding. The initiative demonstrated that even amidst the adversities of war, it was possible to cultivate a space for dialogue and learning. The former adversaries, through exposure to the values enshrined in the American public library system, discovered a shared humanity that transcended national borders and ideological divides. It was a powerful reminder that education can be a force for reconciliation and peace. While the long-term effects of these programs on individual POWs varied, the overarching narrative of Camp Concordia served as a model for future efforts in prisoner re-education and rehabilitation. The experience highlighted the potential for educational initiatives to facilitate ideological transformation and reconciliation, offering a glimpse into the role of knowledge as a catalyst for change in an interconnected world. It underscored the importance of empathy, understanding, and the willingness to engage with those who hold different beliefs. As the POWs left Camp Concordia, they carried with them not just memories of their time in captivity, but also a newfound appreciation for the principles of democracy and the freedom of information. The library, with its open shelves and diverse collection, had played a crucial role in this transformation, illustrating the profound impact that access to knowledge can have on individuals and societies alike. Their journey was a testament to the enduring power of education to change hearts and minds, to bridge divides, and to foster a more peaceful and understanding world. The transformative experience of German POWs at Camp Concordia during World War II is a fascinating narrative that offers profound insights into the power of education in reshaping beliefs and fostering reconciliation. To fully appreciate the significance of this transformation, one must delve into the intricacies of the educational programs designed for the prisoners. These programs were not merely about imparting knowledge or teaching basic skills. They were a carefully orchestrated effort to challenge deeply ingrained ideologies and encourage a spirit of inquiry and critical analysis. The American military authorities, recognizing the potential of education as a tool for change, collaborated with local educators, librarians, and scholars to create a curriculum that went beyond traditional learning. The intent was to stimulate intellectual curiosity and instill an appreciation for democratic ideals, which stood in stark contrast to the authoritarian beliefs many of the POWs had been exposed to under the Nazi regime. The educational programs were thus designed to be transformative, aiming to cultivate critical thinkers rather than passive recipients of information. A key component of these educational initiatives was the inclusion of library visits. The decision to incorporate libraries was a strategic move to expose the POWs to a wide array of perspectives. Public libraries in the United States, known for their open access to a diverse range of literature, became a crucial element of the educational program. Unlike the controlled and censored flow of information in Nazi Germany, where propaganda dominated the media landscape, American libraries offered unrestricted access to books, newspapers, and periodicals, including works that critiqued the American government and society itself. For the German POWs, who were accustomed to a rigidly controlled information environment, the open shelves of the library were both bewildering and intriguing. Initially, many approached the library visits with skepticism, expecting to encounter material designed to indoctrinate them with American propaganda. However, as they began to explore the library's offerings, they were met with a diversity of thought that defied their expectations. Newspapers and periodicals presented current events from multiple viewpoints, while books on history and politics provided critical analyses of governance and policy. This exposure to unfiltered information was a revelation for many POWs, as it challenged their preconceived notions and encouraged them to think more critically about the world around them. The educational programs at Camp Concordia also included lectures and discussions, which were pivotal in fostering an environment of open dialogue. These sessions, often led by local educators and occasionally by visiting scholars, provided a platform for the POWs to voice their thoughts and engage in debate. It was within this setting that a former Nazi teacher, now a prisoner, experienced a profound ideological transformation. His discovery of a history book that openly critiqued the U.S. government served as a catalyst for change. The realization that such criticism was not only permitted, but also published by the government itself, highlighted the practical application of democratic principles that he had been conditioned to reject. This process of discovery and reflection was not isolated to a single individual. Many POWs began to reassess their beliefs, influenced by the unfiltered access to information and the intellectual freedom they encountered. The library became a microcosm of democratic society, demonstrating the value of discourse and the importance of questioning authority. The POW's gradual shift in perspective was a testament to the efficacy of the educational programs, which aimed to nurture critical thinkers rather than passive recipients of information. The impact of these programs extended beyond the confines of the camp. Local interactions between the POWs and the community fostered a mutual exchange of ideas and culture. Although initial apprehension existed among the townspeople who feared the presence of former enemy combatants, the structured and supervised nature of the educational visits helped to alleviate concerns. Over time, these interactions contributed to a sense of shared humanity and understanding, transcending wartime animosities. As the war drew to a close, the process of repatriating POWs commenced. The experiences at Camp Concordia equipped many with a newfound appreciation for democratic principles and the role of education in fostering an informed citizenry. For some, the return to Germany marked the beginning of a personal journey to apply these lessons to the reconstruction of their war-torn nation. The exposure to democratic ideals and the ability to engage with diverse perspectives were instrumental in shaping their contributions to post-war society. The legacy of Camp Concordia's educational programs is reflected in the broader context of post-war reconciliation and reconstruction efforts. By prioritizing education and the free exchange of ideas, the programs set a precedent for future initiatives aimed at transforming adversaries into allies. The emphasis on knowledge as a public resource rather than a privilege underscored the potential for education to bridge divides and promote peace. In this historical context, the story of the German POWs at Camp Concordia serves as a poignant reminder of the transformative power of knowledge and the enduring value of democratic principles. Through the lens of education, the POWs were able to confront their past beliefs and embrace a future grounded in open inquiry and critical thought. This experience not only influenced the individuals involved, but also contributed to the broader efforts of reconciliation and understanding that characterized the post-war era. The narrative of Camp Concordia and its educational programs offers valuable insights into the role of education in conflict resolution and societal rebuilding. By fostering an environment that encouraged critical thinking and open dialogue, the programs provided a model for how former adversaries could be integrated into a peaceful and democratic society. The lessons learned from this experience continue to resonate, highlighting the importance of education in shaping a more informed and equitable world. In reflecting on the transformative experience of the German POWs at Camp Concordia, it is essential to consider the broader implications of such educational initiatives. The programs demonstrated that education could serve as a powerful tool for challenging entrenched beliefs and promoting understanding across cultural and ideological divides. By providing the POWs with access to a diverse range of perspectives and encouraging them to engage in open dialogue, the educational initiatives at Camp Concordia paved the way for meaningful change and reconciliation. Moreover, the success of these programs highlights the potential of education as a mechanism for conflict resolution and societal rebuilding. In a world where divisions and conflicts persist, the lessons from Camp Concordia offer a blueprint for harnessing the power of education to foster peace and understanding. By prioritizing the free exchange of ideas and encouraging critical thinking, educational initiatives can help bridge divides and promote a more peaceful and harmonious world. In conclusion, the story of the German POWs at Camp Concordia is a testament to the transformative power of education and the enduring value of democratic principles. Through the lens of education, the POWs were able to confront their past beliefs and embrace a future grounded in open inquiry and critical thought. This experience not only influenced the individuals involved, but also contributed to the broader efforts of reconciliation and understanding that characterized the post-war era. The narrative of Camp Concordia offers valuable insights into the role of education in conflict resolution and societal rebuilding, highlighting the importance of fostering an environment that encourages critical thinking and open dialogue. As we reflect on this historical experience, we are reminded of the potential for education to shape a more informed and equitable world. The initiative at Camp Concordia to expose German POWs to the intricacies of American democracy through the medium of public libraries was part of a broader strategic effort by the United States during World War II. This effort, aimed at ideological reformation, was not isolated to Kansas, but was part of a nationwide program intended to use education as a rehabilitative tool. The exposure to uncensored literature, a concept alien to those raised under the stringent propaganda of Nazi Germany, served as an eye-opener to many prisoners, prompting a re-evaluation of their preconceived notions about governance, freedom, and human rights. The library visits were meticulously organized, with small groups of POWs escorted by U.S. military personnel to the local town library. These excursions were not only closely monitored for security purposes, but also carefully curated to maximize educational impact. The library, with its shelves lined with diverse materials ranging from political treatises to classic literature, philosophical works, and historical accounts, presented a stark contrast to the limited resources available in the confines of the camp. The open access to information stood in opposition to the controlled content they had encountered in Germany, where books were often banned or censored to align with state ideology. The POWs were given the opportunity to explore ideas freely, an experience that was both bewildering and enlightening. As the POWs browsed the shelves, they encountered literature that presented the American system of governance not as a monolithic ideal, but as a dynamic and often contentious process. Books and newspapers openly criticized government policies, offering a platform for debate and dissent. This was particularly striking to the former Nazi teacher, who had been conditioned to view any critique of the government as subversive. The realization that such criticism was not only tolerated but encouraged as part of the democratic process was an unprecedented concept for him and many of his compatriots. The idea that citizens could openly express dissent and challenge their leaders without fear of reprisal was revolutionary, prompting many POWs to reconsider their understanding of freedom and individual rights. The librarians played a crucial role in facilitating this ideological shift. With a commitment to neutrality and education, they provided guidance and context for the materials the POWs were encountering. Lectures and discussions were often organized to delve deeper into the principles of democracy and freedom of speech, concepts that were being experienced firsthand by the German soldiers for the first time. The librarian's approach was one of inclusivity, encouraging questions, and fostering an environment where diverse perspectives could be expressed and examined. This open dialogue allowed the POWs to confront their own biases and engage in meaningful discussions about governance, rights, and responsibilities. The prisoners' engagement with the library materials varied. Some were resistant, holding steadfast to their ingrained beliefs, while others were more receptive, displaying a genuine curiosity about the alternative viewpoints they were encountering. This variation in receptivity was a reflection of the broader challenges faced by the re-education effort. Not all POWs were willing to abandon their previous ideologies, but the mere exposure to different perspectives planted seeds of critical thought that could potentially grow over time. For some, the experience was transformative, leading to a gradual shift in their worldview and an embrace of democratic principles. For the U.S. military personnel overseeing the program, the library visits were more than just a means of occupying the prisoners' time. They represented a strategic investment in the post-war world. By encouraging critical thinking and open-mindedness, the program aimed to transform these soldiers into advocates for democracy upon their return to Germany. The hope was that they would carry these newfound perspectives back home, contributing to the rebuilding of a democratic society from the ashes of totalitarianism. The military recognized that the future of Europe hinged not just on political and economic reconstruction, but on a deeper ideological transformation. The library initiative was not without its challenges. Security concerns were ever present, as the potential for escape or insubordination was a constant risk. Additionally, there was skepticism from some quarters within the U.S. about the efficacy and appropriateness of educating enemy soldiers. Critics argued that resources could be better spent elsewhere, questioning the wisdom of providing such privileges to those who had been part of an adversarial regime. There were concerns about the possibility of indoctrination backfiring, with some fearing that POWs might use the knowledge gained to further their own agendas rather than embracing democratic ideals. Despite these challenges, the program at Camp Concordia and similar initiatives across the United States persisted, driven by a conviction in the power of education as a transformative force. The American public library system, with its emphasis on open access to information and the free exchange of ideas, served as a microcosm of the democratic principles that the United States sought to promote globally. The program underscored the belief that education could serve as a bridge between cultures and ideologies, fostering understanding and tolerance. As the war drew to a close, the impact of these educational programs began to manifest in subtle yet significant ways. Some POWs, upon their repatriation, continued to correspond with the librarians who had guided them, expressing gratitude for the insights they had gained. Others pursued further education, inspired by the intellectual curiosity that had been kindled during their time in captivity. They became ambassadors of democratic values in their own communities, contributing to the gradual shift in German society towards more open and democratic governance. The former Nazi teacher, in particular, embodied the transformative potential of the program. Having initially approached the library visits with skepticism, he gradually came to appreciate the value of questioning and critique, recognizing these as essential components of a functioning democracy. His journey from indoctrination to enlightenment was emblematic of the broader ideological shift that the United States hoped to achieve through its re-education efforts. He returned to Germany with a newfound perspective, eager to share his experiences and insights with others. In the aftermath of the war, the library program at Camp Concordia was studied as a model for future rehabilitation and re-education initiatives. It demonstrated the capacity for structured educational programs to foster critical thinking and ideological transformation, even among those who had been deeply entrenched in opposing belief systems. The program's success was not measured solely in immediate outcomes, but in the long-term influence on the POWs' perspectives and their contributions to the post-war reconstruction of Germany. It highlighted the importance of patience and persistence in fostering ideological change, recognizing that transformation often occurs incrementally over time. The legacy of the Library Initiative extended beyond the confines of Camp Concordia, serving as a testament to the enduring power of knowledge and education in bridging cultural divides and promoting understanding. It underscored the importance of open access to information as a cornerstone of democracy, a principle that continued to resonate in the years following the conflict. The program's success inspired similar efforts in other contexts, reinforcing the idea that education can be a powerful tool for peace and reconciliation. As historians reflect on this unique chapter in the history of World War II, the Camp Concordia Library Program stands as a reminder of the potential for education to effect change, even amidst the most challenging of circumstances. It is a story of transformation, not through coercion or force, but through the simple yet profound act of opening a book and engaging with ideas that challenge and inspire. The program's enduring impact serves as a beacon of hope for those seeking to promote democracy and human rights in a world still grappling with the legacies of conflict and division. The German POWs at Camp Concordia underwent significant ideological shifts through their exposure to the American public library system, marking a profound chapter in the history of World War II. As the war concluded, the process of repatriation began, guiding the POWs back to a post-war Germany that was in the midst of reconstruction and redefinition. Many of the former prisoners returned with a transformed understanding of democracy and governance, influenced by their experiences with open access to information and diverse perspectives. The educational initiatives, particularly the library visits, played a crucial role in this transformation. The exposure to varied political and philosophical literature challenged the prisoners' preconceived notions and encouraged critical thinking. The former Nazi teacher, emblematic of this transformation, returned to Germany with an appreciation for democratic principles and a commitment to fostering dialogue and understanding in his community. The legacy of Camp Concordia's program extends beyond individual transformations. It provided a model for future efforts in prisoner re-education and societal rebuilding, highlighting education's pivotal role in promoting reconciliation and ideological change. The initiative demonstrated that even in times of conflict, knowledge and open discourse could bridge divides and lay the groundwork for a more peaceful future. As historians reflect on the impact of these programs, the story of Camp Concordia serves as a testament to the enduring power of education in shaping a more informed and equitable world. It underscores the capacity for structured educational efforts to foster understanding and transform adversaries into advocates for democratic values, offering a blueprint for peace-building in a world still navigating the complexities of conflict and division.